Hello everyone, this is Alice, or Uma Girl's Lover. I'm going to do this completely off script. I don't really like writing scripts for myself. I prefer to do so for other people, if at all. This is a new guide style I'm going to be trying out where I just voice over some of my playthroughs so that you guys can see the kinds of things I picked, and I can try to explain why I picked what I picked. So, here we go. I've got to try to do this in a way that makes sense. I don't really know what many of the options I pick while playing will do. So if you see me get a skill that I probably won't use, or a guts boost, that's just me getting unlucky. I usually don't take risks like that. Normally, if I'm low on energy, especially early on, I'll just take a wit training even if there's only one support card there, rather than rest or risk something. So I am surprised I took a risk that high for speed. When options like this appear, where the bottom option has a chance for slow metabolism, I will still pick the bottom option, as long as my energy isn't like maxed out, because I think the energy will always be worth it, even if I get slow metabolism. It's just unfortunate if I do. I play pretty carefully most of the time. I have started to take more risks, but mostly because a lot of my playthroughs are pretty mindless if I'm not building for something specific. So this playthrough was a lot of mindless tapping away, because I've played Fukukitaru before, and, well, I just didn't really feel like I had to think too hard about it in order to get through. But one big thing that I wanted to prove through this Matikanefukukitaru guide is I wanted to prove that you don't need to front run everybody in order to win. It will remove a lot of the luck factor if you do put her in front, but I don't think it really matters very much in the end. It's better for you to run how you want to run, and I personally like to see most of the girls run in my favorite way that also fits their unique skill. So in Fukukitaru's case, I just didn't really want to run her pace. I run a lot of Umas as pace chasers, mostly because of Gourmand and how easy it is to just make everybody a pace chaser, because I don't have super creep myself, and like many players, I do have max limit break special week. I don't like to front run everybody. I used to before. Front run is easier to train when it just comes to getting through a career, but the more involved I get with PvP, the more I really don't want to do that. You can see sometimes I'll pick an option because it has either the director or the reporter in it. I've gotten a lot of questions before on what friendship with the director or the reporter does. You can obviously see the effects that they have when you train with them. The director will give you extra skill points, more if you have higher friendship. The reporter will give you extra stat boost for the stat that you were training with her, and also more if you have higher friendship. They also give boosts at the end if you make it through URA, or to the extended phase for the URA. You will get more from the director if you win URA, I believe the reporter as well. The reporter will only give skill points if you are not at a certain threshold for her friendship, and the director will give either 10 or 15 if you make it past the finale, depending on how high your friendship with her was. She can also upgrade your unique skill at a certain point if you have her friendship in green and also meet the fan count requirement. I'm sorry for stumbling over my words. A lot of this will be one take. If you hear background noise or anything, I sincerely apologize. I am not used to this guide format and don't really want to spend too long trying to do it, as this Fukukitaru guide has already taken much too long to make, and I don't need to spend even longer on it. A lot of this might be awkward silence, because there isn't that much to say about the in-between after I've already explained why I make certain choices. I'll usually take skill hints even if I may not really want the skill hint, just in case. A lot of cards have like 1 or 2 skills that I might use, and mostly skills that I wouldn't use, but I'll still take it usually. Having high wit on a late surger, pace chaser, end closer, any of those, is the ideal. I know a lot of people think that power is the only thing that dictates whether or not you make it out of the pack, but obviously your Uma isn't pushing people over. So power isn't really what helps you out of the pack. Power is really just acceleration. So if you've ever paid attention in science class, you'll know the difference between velocity and acceleration. That is the difference between speed and power. This is why you may not often need a whole lot of power on frontrunners for career, but it is important to note that pretty much everything is different when it comes to PvP. You will need a lot of power on any strategy for PvP, but for career, frontrunners can basically completely ignore power. You can see I got very, very excited about the S aptitude for late, as aptitudes in different sections, so track, distance, and style, they provide a different boost to something different. So an S aptitude in style, I believe, is a 10% boost to wit, which, like I just established, you need wit more than you need power for that. Actually, did I get to talk about how wit is needed? Or did I just talk about how power isn't? In any case, wit is needed because it's what actually gives you the chance to break out of the pack if the way ahead is blocked. So what Tazuna tells you, if she thinks you have low power, is that you had trouble breaking out from traffic. And she will say this even if you get blocked, which you can't control getting blocked. It's going to happen no matter what. Even frontrunners can be susceptible to this level of RNG, just getting surrounded early on and being unable to move. The reason Tazuna will say this is likely because getting blocked means that your speed doesn't change. So to Tazuna, you're not accelerating, which is true, but low acceleration is not the reason for not accelerating in this scenario. It's really just getting blocked. You can see there I took the single friendship training, or not friendship training, the single training with the reporter. That's because I really didn't want to rest and completely waste a turn, but I did remember that summer was next turn. I probably should have rested anyways, as there were no especially good trainings, but I didn't. I took the wit, and that's that. You'll see how I rest here. I would rather not rest during summer if you can help it, but in the future we do get a quality of life update where the director will come in and give you some extra energy during summer, so you really wouldn't need to rest as long as you go into summer with energy. I was a little bit sad about not getting cooldown there, as cooldown is not the most consistent skill. But I did want to try training this Fukukitaru for long. So after this, I kind of stopped training her for long, at least. But I did want to get her to a place where she could at least run mile races, as she managed to get to an A aptitude in mile through inspiration. I figured it was a good idea to maybe run her in mile PvP. I don't think I'll do that, but... The thing about stamina in career that makes you think that you don't need nearly as much of it as you do in PvP is career has a plus 400 stat handicap. So every single thing in career, you actually have 400 more of it than it looks like you do. So you can see when we go in here, my speed is actually A+ rank in technicality. I don't think I got a single gold skill this entire run, which is why I ended up not putting her in PvP. I had very unfortunate skill rolls. It was not the most pleasant. I would always pick the top option for the energy recovery, but since my energy was very nearly maxed out, I figured I'd take the all-around improvement instead. That is how I decide if I'll take the energy recovery or not. If I think the energy recovery could do any better, I would do it. The reason I took the wit training at this point despite the maximum energy is because I really just wanted to get my wit higher than it was. I really, really love wit. I think its importance is more than a lot of people claim it is, but not as intense as some people do. Wit is very important, and it removes a lot of the RNG factor that you usually will find in races. So having it high, especially in team trials where you would want to have more skill procs for some extra points, is always very good. I probably should have watched more of these races to be able to have a better explanation as to why she didn't get first place in all of these, but I don't have an explanation for that. It very easily could have been power, it could have been bad luck. As the previous race, Silent Suzuka is the one who got first place, and her skill procs if she's already in the lead in the final spurt. So it's possible that Matikanefukukitaru simply didn't catch up to her fast enough in order to stop the skill from activating, and Suzuka just sped up. The event that just played with the energy loss is one where normally you would experience a skill level upgrade if you managed to reach that. I'm not sure if I get the slow metabolism event again or not, but I'm pretty sure I got slow metabolism at some point in this run, so we'll see. I took the guts simply because I knew I wasn't going to use the skill on the top option. I don't remember every single option's result. Oh, there's the slow metabolism. But I don't remember every single option's result. I remember enough that I can make do with it with my regular deck. Doing this was a huge risk because there is no infirmary in summer, so had I not recovered that turn, I would have been stuck all of summer being unable to upgrade my speed. Very, very unfortunate. Thankfully, this lucky little lady managed to give me some of her luck. And we did go into summer without that awful debuff. One of the worst parts about Matikanefukukitaru's career is a race in summer. This is one of the confirmed goals, which means depending on your results, otherwise you may not race this, but I don't know the specifics on what else she could run. I simply know that she isn't guaranteed to race what she just did. It changes depending on what you get in the previous race. You may have noticed quick white flashes at the ends of certain races. That is simply the notification for her confirming a goal. Fukukitaru is surprisingly moody a lot of the time. I got surprisingly lucky with a lot of her mood down events. We have experienced at least one, I believe, so far, but it didn't really do much. But many other people might prefer to bring a card like Tazuna or Aoi Kiryuin in order to counter her potential moodiness, keep her mood high, to maximize training. The reason I didn't go hard on stamina towards the end like I normally would for a long race is the Arimakiden is not the longest long race. So although oftentimes people lose the Arimakinen due to low stamina, this wouldn't be an issue as it's 2,500 meters and 600 stamina with the 400 stealth handicap was going to help a lot. Late surgers also consume the least amount of stamina as they save a lot of it during the race. I don't like resting in the final, the extended phase, but sometimes you have to do what you have to do. I would rather take a rest when there's absolutely no good trainings than potentially miss a good training because I decided to train wit. You may have noticed that I haven't bought a single skill throughout this career. This is not necessary at all. You can choose to do whatever you want to do throughout your own careers. Buying skills may have gotten me the win in a few of the races that I had lost. I usually prefer to save it all for the end, just in case I get more in a stat that I want, or in a skill that I want. Or just in general. I find it easier to decide what I want to do for PvP at the very end. So if I had bought skills for medium or long races before she got the A aptitude in mile, I would have been pretty sad because she probably wouldn't have enough stamina for medium and definitely not for long. You can see in this race she gets horrifically trapped. You could even see her slow down because she had to. She was trapped in the pack and couldn't find her way out. So, of course, I gave her a retry because I got this far and she's such a cutie pie. You gotta love watching her run. I prefer to watch the final race so that I have a better idea of how my Uma might perform in PvP. I'm not sure if I got unlucky or if her wit may have been lower than I had intended for. I really do wish that I upgraded her unique skill, but as you can see, she did it in the end when she wasn't blocked by the pack. She easily took the win by 5 ranks. Fukukitaru is very luck-based. She has an event that I can think of off the top of my head where you pick either left, middle, or right. If you pick wrong, her mood goes down. If you pick right, her mood goes up, and you get some skill points. But it's just very sudden, and it's random which option is correct. I'm sorry if you wanted to see her good ending, but hopefully you can get her good ending by yourself. So you can see here now my debate on what to pick as her skills. I got very horrible skill rolls. I tend to like to pick the options that Umas come with. So 777s was a no-brainer for me. I really wanted 777s for her, as well as Lucky 7, as those are just kind of her skills. Even if I were to actually put her in PvP, I would give her these skills. So I'm not sure if I will end up putting her in PvP. It's very unlikely. I didn't want to give her Pace Chaser skills or anything, but I didn't have a lot for skills that I actually might use. So I just ran with a lot of green skills and blue skills. Shooting Star is actually very good on any Light Surger. It may have been better if I had used Rudolph as a parent, as I do have her myself. The spark rolls were very unfortunate, so she will not be running as a parent herself. But this was my best Fukukitaru run, and I'm very proud of her. You can see a glimpse of my cards there if you didn't see them at the beginning.